Hello and welcome to the new video. Today we're going to take a look at the top 20 Pokemon to build for the Ultra League for the next season. And I want to say thanks for the support on the last episode for the Great League. Yeah, I was saying basically if this is going to get like a lot of likes and whatever, I would make a video towards the Ultra League. And now, today we're going to have this. I had the decision I want to make here a video towards this or if I want to make a video towards Garganical, I think it's called, or whatever, which now just got released. I'd rather do this here for you. I think it has more meaning for you. There's, I don't know, 20 Pokemon you should build for the Ultra League. Ultra League going to be available for the first 2 weeks as well, so definitely worth looking into. It's going to be a league that you most likely want to have some Pokemon built anyway. And there's some new Pokemon that kind of shining, some old Pokemon that are going to be a bit stronger. We're going to talk about the most important Pokemon that you're going to have for the next season. Yeah, let's start in. Also, of course, feel free to subscribe. I want to make like some kind of random subscriber goal, but I was like, I'm not going to do the video for the Master League. It doesn't make sense for the Master League. The Master League meta is too narrow in order to make like a top 20 Pokemon to build for the Master League. Yeah, build like Basization, Palkia, whatever. Yeah, it's not really worth it for this, so I'm not going to do that here. But of course, if you appreciate the work, then feel free to subscribe to the channel. First up, we're going to have Jellicent. Jellicent got a ginormous buff, and especially in the Ultra League, this Pokemon is going to be absolutely insane. Having access now to Shadow Ball after just 4 hexes is ridiculous, making this Pokemon insanely strong. One more thing that makes it super strong as well is that the hardest answer for this Pokemon, Bellybolt, got nerfed quite significantly for the upcoming season, which kind of leaves Jellicent with basically next to no real hard answer. And this is going to be a problem to the point that Jellicent is going to be absolutely broken for the upcoming season. I do think for the Ultra League, this is going to be the strongest Pokemon that you can have, and yeah, this makes it most likely Pokemon worth getting. As you guys see as well, 35 wins, 20 losses is kind of ridiculous. Like, there's a crazy win rate, but the best thing as well here is you barely have a Pokemon that really destroys you. Ludicolo is a bit tricky. Licky is quite a bit tricky. I think it's like the worst matchup that you can have, and that's basically it. Like, the rest is going to be neutral, the rest is going to be fine. There's nothing really else. I guess Moltres is going to be a bit stronger still against you as well, but generally speaking, you still do some solid damage against all of those Pokemon with Surf. There's nothing that can really resist both of the moves here, and offensively, before, like, basically Bellybolt was by far the best Pokemon you could run against it, and now this changes quite a bit. And the same goes for Empoleon. Empoleon is actually going to be a Pokemon that really got a big buff this season for the Ultra League without really receiving any buff. And this is because the typing, and this is because, again, the hardest answer, the Bellybolt, got nerfed to the point that you're most likely not going to see it as often anymore. But also one of the biggest Pokemon that got buffed, which you're going to see literally directly after this one, is going to be Clefable, which you're going to be completely hard-rolling. And if you take a look here at the current battle ranking, the Pokemon that is completely on the far right side there is Clefable, because both Moonblast, actually all 3 moves, Moonblast, Swift, as well as the Media Mesh, are all going to be resisted, and Media Mesh even double resisted. So Empoleon is going to be one of the best answers there. It's going to be a very solid Pokemon just generally in the meta, and it's going to be even stronger now next season thanks to the Bellybolt nerf and like the addition to quite a few fairy type Pokemon that are going to be a bit better. Clefable, of course, it has to be on this list. With Media Mesh Moonblast, this Pokemon is ridiculous. This Pokemon is going to be super, super strong, and here it already has the correct moveset as well. I think that Media Mesh Moonblast makes way more sense than Swift in any kind of way, also for the Great League. And again, here we're going to have the worst Pokemon to encounter for this Pokemon. It's going to be Empoleon as well as Corviknight. Corviknight is going to be later on the list. Spoiler alert. Like, it's at the end of the day, this is going to be a list here for you to try to get Pokemon ready for the Ultra League. The Ultra League is going to be very cool to play next season. I think it's going to be a bit better next season compared to this season. And I do think the Clefable is actually part of it. I think it's a really fun Pokemon to run. I think it's a really good Pokemon to run and kind of break some of the annoying Pokemon of this meta. As we enter Malamar, a Pokemon that got buffed with Foul Play, a Pokemon that's going to be very, very solid, of course, weak to those Fairy-type Pokemon, but thanks to the fast move being Psywave, a lot of times you can actually still have a lot of fast move pressure against them. This Pokemon is especially great as Elite, in my opinion, because you're going to be able to use Superpower and Dip in order to do a lot of hard-hitting damage and then kind of remove your debuffs from yourself, which makes Malamar a very interesting Pokemon. It's going to be generally very strong in this meta. There's not really any harder answer to it. I guess the worst Pokemon to encounter are like those fairy type Pokemon generally, but the rest is going to be fine. And it's going to have a lot of neutral play, especially against the current meta, which makes it a fantastic lead generally, or even say stop for this right now. Regidrago got access to the move of Vice Grip. By the way, again, we don't actually only have buff Pokemon in here. We have also some Pokemon that are just gonna be better without buffs. This Pokemon still got buffed. Vice Grip is gonna be a cheaper move now to get for this Pokemon, while Dragon Energy got nerfed in terms of damage. Vice Grip is gonna be a better bait move, which is gonna be cool for it as well. But yeah, Pokemon like Clefable and Togekiss is going to be a bit of a pain for you. The rest is going to be quite solid, and I've seen a lot of top teams as well. Like basically around the Regidrago, where top players are actually expecting this Pokemon is going to take over the meta. So we have to wait and see on if this is actually going to be the case, but it's going to be definitely a very solid Pokemon. Forretress is going to be next, a Pokemon that didn't get buffed, but a Pokemon I do think is especially good in this current meta. A lot of Pokemon that got basically buffed generally are weak to Forretress, especially a Volt Switch Forretress. This is kind of the change here. I feel like Volt Switch Forretress is going to be absolutely fantastic in both Great as well as Ultra League, as this is going to hit all the Water-type Pokemon that kind of coming up for super effective damage. You have great coverage in Rock Tomb against all of those Ice-type Pokemon, and with Earthquake you're going to be able to hit also those Steel-type Pokemon for super effective damage, which will allow you to have a lot of play with this Pokemon in the upcoming meta. This is going to be great. Bug Bite still works out as well though, but I feel like Volt Switch, especially in the Ultra League, is going to be quite interesting. You see on the right side, yeah, basically a 66 win percentage there is going to be kind of crazy, so this Pokemon is going to be absolutely amazing for the upcoming meta. Ludicolo is honestly a very interesting thing here. I'm curious on how strong it's actually going to be, but I do think it's going to have a lot of play in this meta, being a very good answer to Jellicent, but also going to have a lot of neutral play against a lot of Pokemon, especially if you are energy up. If you can farm down a Pokemon with the Ludicolo, you're going to have access to hard-hitting charge moves, which are going to allow you to hit quite basically everything in the current meta. And here, the weakest Pokemon, the worst Pokemon to encounter is going to be Virizion, which is kind of funny. A Pokemon that I don't think is going to have a lot of it has a bit of playstyle. I do think it has a little bit of playstyle, but I don't think it's going to be the most common Pokemon, as there are quite a lot of Pokemon that are going to be able to counter it, like Florges, Clefable, the Jellicent even is going to be alright against Virizion. It's not a counter, don't get me wrong, but even Corviknight is going to be able to kind of deal with it, or the Moltres, so quite a lot of flying-type Pokemon, quite a lot of fairy-type Pokemon around, which kind of scares away the Virizion, which helps Ludicolo quite a bit. Walrein is going to be next, the Pokemon that got double buffed with a Powder Snow as well as Icicle Spear. It's going to be an interesting Pokemon here. It's going to be up into the top 20 now, which is great. And there are no real harder answers that got buffed towards this Pokemon. Lapras apparently is the worst Pokemon to face with this thing, which, spoiler alert, going to be later on the list as well. It's a very good Pokemon to have as well, Lapras. But yeah, Walrein is going to be interesting. Walrein is going to be strong. Walrein is going to be a Pokemon that you kind of have to, at least be mindful of when you team build, because it's going to be something that can kind of destroy a lot, of course, as Ice and Ground type coverage is amazing against the current meta, but also against nearly every meta, which makes a Walrein and like Pokemon like Dugong in the Great League very, very solid, just because there's not a lot of Pokemon that can really resist both of the types of damage, and this makes it very, very versatile. Dusknoir, a Pokemon that didn't get buffed previously, is going to be on this list here as well, because I think that Dusknoir is going to have a lot of play in this meta. A lot of Ice-type Pokemon got buffed, which helps you out, of course, with the Dynamic Punch doing some super effective damage. Baby Bolt got nerfed, a lot of times Baby Bolt was running Sucker Punch, doing super effective damage against you. And so generally, I do think also in the Ghost-type meta, Dusknoir going to have a lot of play, and we see it on the right side as well. It looks absolutely fantastic for the upcoming meta, and it's going to be just very nice neutrally against most of the current picks. And so, yeah, Dusknoir is going to be a very good pick for the upcoming meta, definitely worth building. Sure, Dusknoir has a lot of play in the current Ultra League meta anyway. I do think it's going to be even stronger for the upcoming season. As we're going to have Tinkaton here, I actually kind of realized now I forgot to put Licky on the list. Licky deserves to be on this list here as well. Just forgot about it, I guess I glanced over it. But Tinkaton is going to be here as well. Tinkaton, I think, is going to be a great Pokemon to have for the upcoming season, as we have here a Fairy type that beats Fairy type Pokemon. And that's kind of nice, because what we see here as well, you're going to have great coverage against the current meta, but the typing itself is what Tinkaton is really kind of make it to shine, because you have a typing that resists Ice, which is going to be great. It resists Dark, which is going to be great with all the Foul Play Pokemon that got buffed. And you're going to be able to hit Pokemon like Moltres here, the Regidrago or the Clefable for a lot of damage, which is going to be fantastic. Clefable actually still is alright against you though, because Clefable has access to the move Media Mesh, which is a neutral against this Fairy type as well, of course. But generally speaking, it's going to be a good answer against most of the Fairy type Pokemon, and Tinkaton is absolutely worth still building for the upcoming meta. As we approach here Aurorus, it's one of my favorite Pokemon. Aurorus has a perfect core basically with the Virizion, which is kind of funny. making it a very interesting Pokemon to build here as well. Virizion is one of the hardest answers to it though, but generally speaking, with the Dusknoir buff, Aurorus looks amazing. Having the potential to nuke Pokemon away with Meteor Beam and then just hitting them hard with a ball of ice even afterwards is kind of wild. I like this Pokemon a lot. I think it's a great Pokemon, especially in the lead. I think it's a very fantastic Pokemon to run. Quite a few Answers still available, of course, and Clefable has Meteor Mesh, which is going to one-shot you, but otherwise, I think Aurorus is going to be a cool Pokemon and definitely worth taking a look at. Steelix is going to be here mainly as an anti-meta Pokemon. Receiving 0 buffs, 0 nerfs is going to be still a very solid Pokemon. You see here already why I have it on the list. You are going to be able to beat basically the top meta Pokemon, all of them here, because you have a great resistance. It's just being a steel type Pokemon. It's all that you can need, but actually with having access to Thunderfang, you're going to have perfect coverage against Pokemon like Corviknight, Moltres, Lapras, Jellicent. All of them are going to Electric Weak. Empoleon we're going to have here on. So like there's going to be a lot of Pokemon that are going to really not appreciate the Thunderfang damage, and this is kind of why this Pokemon is so strong in the upcoming meta. Steelix is just going to be a very nice bulky snake here, and it's going to be always kind of good in the GO Battle League, so definitely worth building also for the future. Doublade kind of made it on here on the last second there. It's more of a meme, but it works out really well. Like, why I say it's more of a meme is because you're most likely going to rather invest your XL candy into the Aegislash for the Great League, but Doublade for the Ultra League is honestly a fun Pokemon as well. And it's going to be very strong, like don't get me wrong, I don't mean it as like a meme, this Pokemon doesn't have any play or anything like this and just here for the fun. It's actually a very good Pokemon, just very unlikely that you already have 600 XL candy for the Doublade and then the Aegislash together. It's just very unlikely that you're going to be able to build it, but it's going to be a good Pokemon to have, and absolutely Doublade is going to be a strong Pokemon to have here. Having access to Shadow Claw and Sacred Sword this season, making this Pokemon absolutely fantastic, which it wasn't previously, but now it's going to be such an interesting Pokemon to run. I can't wait to give it a try. Mandibuzz is here to also kind of showcase the Moltres. Moltres is currently the #1 spot in the Ultra League, but I felt like Mandibuzz is kind of more interesting to talk about because it's a fallen hero. It's a Pokemon with a lot of bulk, but it's a Pokemon that has previously been super strong, then kind of got nerfed, but now it's going to be back again. As Foul Play as well, Shadow Ball both got buffed this season, making Mandibuzz a very interesting Pokemon to play again. It's a very strong bulky Pokemon, and I'm curious on if Snarl is going to be the better moveset or if it's Air Slash. Air Slash makes a lot of sense as well, as you're going to hit a lot of the Pokemon that kind of resist your charge moveset. And so both are viable ways. Air Slash also going to help you out against Virizion, which is going to be kind of important. And so yeah, I don't know, like I feel like Air Slash makes a lot of sense as well here, but it's not going to be better for energy generation, of course. Entering Blastoise, I think Blastoise is going to be fantastic for the upcoming meta, because Blastoise is going to have access to Rollout, giving it coverage against Ice and Flying type Pokemon, which is quite useful here. Scalbush is going to allow you to boost your own defense up, going to also be just very nice against other Water type Pokemon, which there are going to be quite a few of them. And I think Blastoise is going to be one of those super nice safe stops for the next meta, as also the hardest answer, the Belly Bolt, is now nerfed and most likely going to be kind of gone. Makes it very nice for Blastoise in the current meta. I think it's going to be a good Pokemon to run. The worst Pokemon to encounter is, I guess, Ludicolo or the Giratina, but that is going to be fine. I think Blastoise is going to be the big man for the Ultra League. Florges just deserves a spot here. Sorry, like Florges really deserves a spot here. You need to kind of have it. It's too good to give up. This Pokemon is just so great as a lead, as a closer, or as a safe stop. Just because of the coverage you have with this Pokemon, it's very difficult to get rid of it. Because a lot of times you're going to get into the matchup with energy disadvantage, and then there's going to be Chilling Water, and then your attack is going to be dropped, and then it's an uphill battle. If it's any kind of neutral scenario, it's an uphill battle. And so I do think that Florges is going to be one of the strongest Pokemon for the upcoming meta. It's absolutely worth building, and I do think, yeah, it's generally going to never be really bad either. I can't see that they kind of got to nerf it to the point where you can't really use it. Lapras, as I said before already, kind of deserves a spot here. It's very different compared to what the other Pokemon can do, what the Walrein can do, because what you have here is more water type damage, which you don't have at all with Walrein, to be fair. You have Psywave as a fast move. It kind of acts kind of differently, and I do like actually Lapras Saiyosop and the Walrein in the back. I think it kind of makes a lot of sense, because Lapras is going to be able to bait out Flying type Pokemon while still hitting them hard with a Psywave, which is kind of cool. And so Lapras absolutely deserves a spot here. It's going to be very good basically for the rest of the Ultra League most likely, as I can't see them kind of nerfing this Pokemon anytime soon, because it's not too broken to the point that you need to nerf it, but it's very, very strong. Like, it's very, very strong. Corviknight going to be next, #2 on the current meta ranking. Bellybot got nerfed. Hardest answer is still the hardest answer, even with a nerf, and with that you have basically a Pokemon that has no weakness. Like, it is what it is. You have a fire and you have an electric type weakness. Neither of the types are very common in the current meta, which makes Forretress with Volt Switch so interesting because it's going to be able to counter Corviknight. But as you're going to see here, especially in the current meta, this Pokemon is going to have so much play. More Ghost-type Pokemon means Payback is going to have more play. And so I do think that Corviknight is going to be the Pokemon you kind of want to have. It's going to be the Pokemon that is easiest to build teams around. It's the perfect glue in basically every single team. And with a nerf of Belly Bolt, it's going to be so much stronger even. And so we're going to have here Tinkaton. Tinkaton should be the second to last pick for today. Tinkaton is going to be very strong. It got buffed with Beak Blast, but look at how strong this Pokemon is, and it's going to be benefiting quite a bit from the meta update. While it didn't get affected straight away itself, it's going to be able to resist the Ghost type damage, which a lot of Ghost types kind of buffed here, as well as for this meta here. It's going to be still very good for Ghost type Pokemon, and Tinkaton kind of feast on them. And for example, the Ludicolo cannot hit this Pokemon at all, as you're going to be able to double resist the fast move, and you can just knock him out with one Drill Peck afterwards. Shadow Tinkaton is so much stronger than normal Tinkaton. You kind of need the extra damage, but this Pokemon with Beak Blast is going to be so much better than before. Absolutely fantastic. And again, Belly Bolt is gone, which gives this Pokemon so much more play now. And the last one is going to be Feraligatr here, as far as I know. This Pokemon is going to be very interesting, as it's going to be, benefiting quite a bit from the meta update as well, without directly benefiting. Again, a lot of Ghost type Pokemon around, a lot of times where the coverage just really helps you out. I think this is mainly the benefit of Feraligatr, is the coverage on this Pokemon, allowing you to hit basically all of the Pokemon for super effective damage somehow in the current meta, or at least neutral, as you have coverage for Dragon type Pokemon with Ice Beam, you have Hydro Cannon, which is going to be just nice neutrally, you're going to have Shadow Claw for something like a Jellicent, so like you have a lot of potential with this Pokemon. And so this is going to be my 20 Pokemon I would build for the Ultra League if I was you, that kind of got at least buffed in kind of a way this season. There are other Pokemon that are very good as well. I forgot Licky on the list for sure. Definitely put this one on there as well. Then you have 21. Well, that's going to be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I will see you then.